Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello and good evening and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio, and it is a warm welcome because it's absolutely sweltering where we are in Scotland tonight, and hopefully everybody that's joining us is having a lovely night as well. Tonight we are joined by the one and only Port Bear. Port Bear, how we doing, mate? You're doing a Bridgeman already. Bridgeman, you're joined with us tonight as well, mate. How are you getting on?
Oh, magic. Nice to hear you, GB. Nice to hear you. And of course, Port Bear, he'll wake up sometime, I think.
Give him a nudge. Give him a nudge, Bridge.
I've done that. I think he's there. I think he's there. We'll not worry too much about it now. Can I just say
Bridge,
to yourself, sorry, boys.
Bridge, will you stop pressing my mute button?
I haven't touched it, pal.
I told you.
Oh,
see,
see what you mean,
see,
yeah.
every time I'm in this studio, you always press my button. You stay at your side. Your buttons are there. My buttons are here.
Okay.
Stop pressing my mute button.
Very good, Port Bear. Very good. I like that one. I'm trying to figure out, mate, how I managed to get to Port Glasgow and press your button.
Hey, don't you let too many secrets see when you're pressing my button.
Bridgeman, let them have it. Let the listeners.
What can I say? Listen, a big good evening to yourself, GB, and Port Bear, and the guys in the background, Techie boys. And can I just say to all the Rangers fans listening in, this here is Rangers Radio, and we are disappointed, or I am disappointed of the result. But I'm really pleased that we got through. Looked a bit dodgy some of the play, but we got through. So can I just say good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio.
Yes, very well said, Bridgeman. Yep, we will be talking about that subject of the Glasgow Rangers tonight and what has been going on in the previous game. Where do we go forward, boys? Lot of questions. A lot of fans are already disheartened with the manager. Rightly so, because there's been promises made. There's certain fans as well who are dismayed by the actual new owners. They've made promises in the annual general meeting as well, and they've employed Patrick Stewart, Kevin Farewell as well, into roles where they were in tasked to improve us as well. So it is, for me, it's a collective tonight, folks. It's about every bit of the departments in the Glasgow Rangers, and of course the players. The players are the ones that are on the park and have got to do the job for us. But if you've got any subjects that you would like to talk about, then by all means give us a phone tonight, 0141 356 1972, and come and join yourself, Port Bear and the Bridgeman, as we dissect what's going on with the Glasgow Rangers again for another season. Port Bear, mate, I'm not surprised that we're talking about the same movie, mate, unfortunately. I did have the fear because of how late we left appointing the manager. Then there was that quick turnaround where we had to be ready for the Champions League qualifiers. The signings have dragged on for me, mate. I know you can't just snap your fingers and get guys in through the door, but let's face it, mate, since probably January, we've knew that there's got to be a change of manager. Ferguson came in. There should have been plans in place of getting a structure in place of players that were going to come in and improve us. And you've touched on it before, mate. The club have stated that going forward, even if the coach does leave, the philosophy stays the same style of play, wanting attacking football, all the rest of it. So that should have all been set up before even Russell Martin came in the building. And basically, mate, over to you. I mean, we will touch on the other night, but your thoughts so far in the season, mate? There's a lot to kind of dissect so far, and there is a lot of concerns in amongst it all as well, mate. So over to you, Port Bear.
Well, let's, in my opinion, let's start from when the 49ers took over, and then they went and they hunted along with Patrick Stewart, guys who are alleged to be top of the field. Kevin Farrell. Sorry, the other guy names escape me at the moment. The guy who works alongside Kevin Farrell. But these guys came from Everton, I believe, and they were again very highly regarded and player recruitment, very highly regarded when it comes to their ideas on how they want to play their football. They were the guys that would go and find the players for Russell Martin because he comes as a first team coach. He's not a manager, so he doesn't really get a say on the players. They've picked a philosophy that they want Russell Martin to play, and they go and get the players according to that formation and that system and that style. And so far, mate, the signings, in my opinion, have been underwhelming. And what's no helping that, mate, is there's still a lot of the same players in that team, in that squad, that have got very, very deep scars. With losing some finals, mate, losing, against, there across the city, with some bad results against some other teams in the league. I think these guys have got a lot of scar tissue. Gary, I think they've got a lot of scar tissue, a lot of bad times, and I heard AK and Ox talking about it last night, and they were talking about an absolute clear out. It's impossible to get a clear out in the first transfer window. I think what was he brought in? He's brought in 7, 2 of them weren't his. Leo Cameron wasn't his, and Cortez wasn't his. But in my opinion, there's still a lot of the previous DNA through that team, and it's DNA of failure. It's DNA where you've heard Russell Martin talking about it. He feels these players are egotistical. They play for their own self-indulgence, as in their own stats. They're not team players, and that's one thing that really concerned me so far in the season, mate. I've not seen a team performance. The Pilsen game was decent. They were a poor side. You can only play this in front of you. They were a poor side, but that I thought maybe would be a catalyst in the springboard. Takes forward into that Motherwell game that weekend, mate, and look what happened. We're so predictable. We're so predictable to play against. You seen it against Dundee. They knew Ant-Man and Gasman were the problems, and all you have to do, mate, 5-4-1, and you deny these guys space in behind you, and we didn't have the answers because Russell Martin looks at one of these guys. To me, he's not got a plan B, and he's basically going to go, I'm going to stick with my system until I get the players that I want eventually to try and break this low block. Now we've got Asgard coming back, and we've got the boy for Tottenham, Mikey Moore. They might be the keys to unlock these tight defences, but they're young, mate, inexperienced. Playing for Glasgow Rangers, mate, we all know this. It's a heavy shot, and I just think, we are. You've heard me ask you on many a time, mate. Patience. But already, I've listened to the shows all week. The patience is wearing very thin, and that's concerning because I don't think this board's going to pander to the masses. I think it's not going to be because they've not got an emotional attachment to these players or really our club. These are businessmen. So the fans can shout as much as they want in the stand. They've picked this guy, and I think they're going to stick with him, mate, along with Kevin Farrell and his right-hand man. They're going to stick with this, Gary, and this project is going to be seen through at the end, in my opinion, because they're not going to listen to, fans in the stadium dictating to what's going to go on. These guys want to make this club a success, and they'll do it by hook or by crook. So I personally don't believe that we're changing manager. So all I'll say, folks, is strap in, buckle in. This is going to be a bumpy ride.
Mm-hmm. All right. It will be interesting, mate, if they stick with it, because they've not came up against a support like Glasgow Rangers before. That's my concern, is that it's all right maybe doing this down in Leeds or whatever, and they just have to put up with it. But like I say, as the fans have proved before, mate, they don't want a manager. They start voting with their feet. Don't turn up to games. I mean, everything's a cost. So, like I says, it'll be interesting to see how far they want to push it. If this, and this is us only talking, if things are still going to continue on this path that we, Bridgeman, as we've said before, mate, is we've seen this movie too many times, and that it's an underwhelming concern that we've went into another season. We hope. I mean, against Motherwell, we've had a favourable start to the season with fixtures. I mean, we couldn't have probably wished for anything better. The past few seasons have been horrific. We've been getting sent away to Aberdeen all the time and Kilmarnock on plastic pitches. We'll get sent to Motherwell. Now we knew they were going to be a physical team and stuff like that. But you expected, again, fresh ideas, fresh push for the title. And again, we crumble. We just didn't see it again. Now, I think if we just, like I says, done what most teams done to us, Bridgeman, and just sat in that game and just seen the game out 1-0. That's what Russell Martin said. We'll get wins. It's about winning now, and we'll just keep moving forward. Then I don't think there'll be as much upheaval the new Bridge. But for us to collapse, and then as we've seen the other night there, we've collapsed again. It doesn't bode well for the manager. It doesn't bode well for the players. Bridgeman, just your thoughts overall about what's happening now, mate. And like I says, we will touch on the game for these later on in the show.
Well, I have to say to everybody that's listening, of course, Bridgeman's saying one thing and a lot of folk are thinking another. But I can tell you how I feel. I feel that we've got a club and a team that both are getting booed off the park at Ibrox. The manager and the players and the board. They're sitting up in the stand at Ibrox and they can hear them. And everybody that's doing anything is booing them. And I don't like that. I'm not saying it rings all the way around, but they're getting booed. And that's what happened to them. The last two managers ended up getting booed. I don't want to hear any boos at Ibrox, but you've got to realise what you're doing. You've got to realise what you're doing. With 2 league games, we've scored 2 goals and lost 2 goals. Unbelievable stuff. Just utterly unbelievable stuff. But I can't say too much other than what I'm saying now. I don't want to be condemned for being weak or something like that. I don't believe this manager has got any idea what he's doing with the players he's got. We went out against Dundee at Ibrox and we get out-coached by Elvis Presley. There you go. Elvis Presley out-coached our manager. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. People, I can't believe it. It just is, and I can't get the words proper. I just can't without swearing, you know. It's really difficult to sit here and try to, how can we say, I can't compliment too many players for what they've done. The only player I feel that I could compliment for those in those 2 league games is a young boy scored the goal at Ibrox, or scored the other night there. What's his name? The boy who came to Dundee.
Leo Cameron.
So yeah, he's the only boy I could compliment. The rest of them, I'm sorry. There was some of them seem as if some parts of the game, they seem as if they're either don't want the ball, and when they get it, they're frightened, and things like that. And then you've got this rudimentary stuff: pass a ball, and you pass a ball 1 yard, 2 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, 10 yards, 20 yards. It's getting more difficult. And we've got, in my opinion, because I was a centre half, we've got centre halves that are passing the ball, are trying to pass the ball 40 yards through the middle of our team to pick up somebody to pick up. That won't work. I couldn't pass the ball 40 yards with, you know, it just wouldn't happen. You know, you got, how can we say it? You got a 5-man defence, maybe 6-man defence, and sometimes more, and we're just losing the ball. We have lost so much possession in our tour games. Even in Europe, we've lost a lot of possession, and that's what ruins the performance, ruins it. I'm going to say no more now.
No, Bridge, well said. And we'll take a pause there. and I'll come back to you in 2 seconds, Port, because I think it's only right that what it says we get the listeners on, because there's a few topics to talk about. What it says at the start of the show there, if we analyse it, we need to look back on where there's been failings out with the manager so far. I think what it says, going back to the pre-prep this season coming up, because I think, like I says, things should have been in place. I was absolutely moaning about how long it was taking us to start getting moving on signs. Now, like I said, there's no way they've just woke up one morning and just thought, right, it's got to be Russell Martin. As much as all the clamour was on about the boy Ancelotti and stuff like that, and possibly Gerrard, I think, like I said, most guys would have known if I'm making that decision that what's going to be happening. And even the guy that's getting appointed the job, he's got to plan with his family and all the rest of it and stuff like that. So, like I said, things would have been in place, and that's the disappointing thing for me. So, if you've got a point on it, then it'd be nice to hear from you. So, give us a call.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yep, give us a wee phone. Like I say, there's plenty of subjects to talk about. Back to you, Port. Like I say, I'm not wanting to kind of turn this into a kind of Russell Martin bash, and what will be with him. He's got major games coming up where he's got to prove that he's going to be able to cope with this pressure and be able to mount some sort of challenge this season. But one thing I have noticed that he's slipped into the same mistake as what previous managers like Comont and all that have done, is that when you look about our league, you can't, I mean, the fans see with their own eyes what goes on at other clubs. And as we've seen with, as Bridgman touched on there, with Elvis Presley coming into Dundee, you've had the new boy in at Motherwell, and then last season we come on, we had the boy in at Aberdeen who was flying for the first so many games of the season. And granted, they did tail off, but we've never seen that in so many seasons. We've never seen a manager come in and absolutely have the team totally organised and ready for the start of the season. And this is my bugbearer, that if you're not going to have your team ready for the start of the season and your tactics can't be, what's the word? Can't be adhered to, then you've got to be smart about this league. You've got to play to your strengths. You're going to have to look at your squad. You're going to say, well, I'm not going to get all my signings in one go. I'm going to have to do a sort of tactic that's going to be able to compete against this low block. So over at you, Port, I think Russell Martin again fell into the same trap as the rest of the managers, and that's why the fans are on his back already.
Hey, first of all, do any of you think you underestimate the league?
Aye, I do, mate. I think he thought he was going to be able to come in here and play the fast-paced football and run down the wings and rip teams apart and do a kind of what Ange done, score 3 goals by half-time and then just manage the game for the second half. Unfortunately, I think what he's seen in the training ground, he's probably seen good players, but when it comes to actually carrying out or executing the job in hand, I think he got the rude awakening at Motherwell, which should have had him Port ready for Dundee. And I think that's, like I say, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You're only got to go one way with this. If you're not learning for Motherwell and then you're not learning for Dundee, mate, if he doesn't learn it at St Mirren, he's either going to have to drop his ego, as he's called out the rest of the players, and change it up a bit to make himself hard to beat but be able to win games, or like I say, he's going to find himself where the fans are going to get disheartened and totally at the point where they're going to be half crowds at Ibrox. You know what I mean? So that's what I think. It'll just go the same way as Clermont, unfortunately. Rich?
Yep.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. As far as I'm concerned, the manager needs to wake up. I don't know. I never followed him when he was in the English Premiership. But I kind of get sacked after a number of games, you know. Probably playing the same football that we're playing now and got battered as we're getting. Maybe not so much in goals, but we're getting battered on the pitch. We get teams who are what we would call mediocre teams. They're out playing us. outplaying us in possession, outplaying us in their defence, as they've been doing with us for the last 2 or 3, maybe 4 seasons. They plonk it, big fellas. They plonk them in the middle of their defence, and all they do is clear the ball. They don't really want to play a tidy football. They want to clear the ball because that's their main job. We've got 2 big centre halves, and if their main job's clear the ball, I'm afraid they don't do it very often. Certainly from cross balls and throw-ins, they do it at corners. They just don't do it. They can't reach the ball with their head, and in the wrong position. Caught out. These teams we're playing against, they're not silly. The players aren't stupid. They take their positions up where they've been training for. We haven't been. It looks like we've not been training for anything. Have we trained? Do you think we've trained to defend a corner or a free kick? I don't think so. My honest opinion. I don't think so. So we're in trouble.
Port, mate, come back in, mate, on it.
Aye, no, you know what I've watched so far. I've seen some highlights of other games, and what I've noticed when I've seen the Motherwell game, mate, under the new manager, this boy's going for Iceland. Knew none of the Scottish football. Maybe done his due diligence and checked out the teams and figured out how he was going to set up Motherwell, and probably looked at his players, see what he had, and he added a couple of wee players. But Motherwell came out and attacked us that game, Gary. They came out, they didn't sin against us. They came out and met fire with fire and thought, right, Rangers, you're going to have a go. We're at home. We're going to have a go. So, in Russell Martin's philosophy, that actually suited us because we should have had space. We should have space to kill. We should have space in behind. But that team, that Motherwell team, and I always say it on this show, mate, you know, the bare essentials of being a Rangers player. You don't go out fought. You don't go out ran. You don't get out thought. That should never happen against a team like Motherwell. But that manager had them set up perfectly, mate, to nullify our team. So he gave Dundee the blueprint how to stop Rangers. And Stephen Presley came up with an even better blueprint to deny space for the wingers. Because if Ant-Man and Gasman can't get in behind and there's no grass to run at, then it forces us into the middle of the pitch. They've got 4 in there in front of their back 5. It's the congestion's terrible in there, there's no space. And we're sitting knocking the ball back leisurely, left to right, with no penetration, mate. Because we've not got the boy Asgard's supposed to be like this, you know, about breaking the lines, and he's got that, you know, underpass to get that, to unlock these defences. But he's not there at the moment. Same with the boy Moore. He's supposed to be that magician that's going to do that. But again, he's not there yet. So I see other teams, mate, Hibs, Hearts, all improving. I mean, Hearts had a great end to the season, and they had a great start to the season. Done well in Europe as well. So is Hearts, mate. And my worry is...
Change your manager as well. Change your manager,
if
mate,
this,
as well.
Yep. If this keeps going, GB, Bridgeman, if this keeps going, is this going to be the season that them Edinburgh teams split the Old Firm?
I think sorry.
Sorry, Bridge. That's a sad
Not at all,
indictment.
pal, I do apologise. I butted in there. I didn't mean to.
If that's where we are, and that's what we're looking at right now, and you look at the form right now, both Edinburgh teams, if this keeps going, will split the Old Firm on our current form, and that is a worrying sign for me.
Well, you're forgetting Aberdeen as well. Aberdeen might do it as well. We're a poor team.
Yeah.
We're up to now, the way we've been playing, and you talk to as many Rangers fans as you want, and they'll tell you probably the same as what we're both saying. But we don't look good, and we look as if some of our players that don't know what anything about football, you know, that kind of silly thing, you know. And we'll get full backs that don't really know the level of football they're playing at. Even Yefty, who's been here for a season, and I thought he was quite a good player, he hasn't shown it. He's been pretty poor from a defensive perspective. Well, I don't know what to say. It turns out all we're doing is kind of slagging the players, and I don't want to slag the players. I want to praise the players. I want to praise them for scoring good goals, which I will do. But my God Almighty, we've got no consistency. We need to get it right. And the only person that you can actually hold accountable for this is the manager. It doesn't. He can't come out and throw the players under a bus. He can't do that. That's his players, his team. He's got to make sure they're coached the way he wants it to be, and make sure that whatever he's asking them to do, they can do it on the training ground, and they do it repetitively. If they can do that, then there's no problem on a pitch. But they can't be doing it. I'm sorry. I can't say too much more. I'm getting mixed up myself, I tell you.
No, there's no bridge, not at all. No, Paul, mate, you make a good point. The form, we are only 2 games into the league, but the form itself has been iffy. The pre-season was iffy as well. And when you look about our clubs, and I think that's what annoys us all more, is when we can see other clubs spending less and getting more for their dough, and we seem to spend more and get nothing back in return. We don't seem to have an organised team in the park ever. I mean, and apart from maybe the last is the Pilsen game at home, but again, that could have been just them on a total off night, and we just, like I says, had the run of the pitch in a sense. We had hundreds of space, and that's great for our team because we've got boys who are deadly. I mean, like I says, Gasman and Ant-Man and Big Dessers and all that. They're all decent players, but it's when, like I says, the going gets tough, or when you need to get back into a game, or you need to get that goal, like I says, to win a match. We've not seen that for a few squads now, and I'm surprised. Like I says, I'm surprised with Russell Martin as a manager is that Motherwell game is how we weren't able to see the game out. He should have known that the game was getting a bit iffy, so sure it up. Walter Smith was absolutely fantastic at games like that at Motherwell, knowing that, right, the day's just no the day for brilliant football. We're getting overran here. The boys are just not putting in the performance. But I'm sitting at 1-0 now with 20 minutes to go. He would shore that up, and we would just play horrible football for the rest of that 20 minutes and see the game out and win 1-0. And that's how that big man won leagues. That's how that great manager won leagues, Port. And none of the recent managers, even Gerrard to a certain extent, it was only in his final season that he got it. But most of them, they just don't grasp that. It's just about scraping. It's then like what Bridgeman says week in, week out. Get the 1-0s, get a Bridgeman up the road. I also don't care about glitzy, glamorous football. I would much rather know that we've seen 1-0 results and we build, and like you're saying, Port, in time we get the transfer windows and we get better quality in, we get the guff out. But like I says, unfortunately, I think Russell Martin, if these next 2 games that's coming up, and this is an annoying thing about Alloa coming up for me as well, Alwa's got to be a run-of-the-mill game. It's got to be an important game to win for him. And by the way, if anything happens in that game, then the pressure's going to be right on him. But it is going to be a run-of-the-mill game. We'll see probably a couple of great goals, and it'll be, it's all shiny in the garden again. But see, St Mirren and Celtic, they're 2 different animals. And like I says, I think just because we've been there this tough before, mate, that if we're sitting at 10 points and you're talking about Edinburgh team splitting us, mate, does a Russell Martin manager survive that? I don't know, mate.
The biggest problem we've seen for pre-season, mate, is we've not seen any improvement, and I think, it's not my opinion, right? I think these players are struggling to understand what Russell Martin's trying to put across. I think they're really, really struggling to figure out what his philosophy is, what his setup is. Because you look at the Motherwell game, it was bad, mate, right? But you expect a wee lift to get the Pilsen result, and then you expect a wee lift for that. But in my opinion, mate, the Dundee match was worse. The Dundee match was even worse than the Motherwell match. We digressed again. We went back the way again. And that's concerning. And by the way, just to put it out there, Alloa pumped Dundee in a recent game. So, don't write off Alloa. not in the form we're in. And I mean, Alloa pumped him, mate. Go on YouTube and watch it. Alloa comfortably beat Dundee. But as I says, we've got St Mirren coming up, and we know how well that manager sets up that team. We have always found it difficult against St Mirren, and your favourite player, Gogic, has always been a thorn in my side. GB, it's a guy you've always hated that seems to single-handedly stop Rangers, breaks everything up, just sits in front of his back four and does his job, which is excellent. And then we face them, and like I says, if the results don't go their way, we're in big trouble. Now, on the other hand, if we get a result against St Mirren and if the positivity rise, and we get to that Old Firm game, in my opinion, we need to win it. Right? We need to win that first Old Firm game. And I'm trying to put a positive spin on it here. I'm hoping that could be the springboard, mate. I'm hoping the penny finally drops. Do I see it? No. It's a pipe dream. I just hope that this team finally get the message and finally understand what's expected. Russell Martin's got a plan B, guys. It's, as you said, it's not about pretty football and 1-2s and working these triangles and these inverted fullbacks, which are offering nothing. They're offering nothing going inverted. When Postecoglou done it, you seen a difference when Postecoglou inverted his fullbacks because it flooded the midfield, and a lot of times Celtic dominated in there because of that. But our guys, when they're inverting, aren't doing that because they've not got the quality. They've not got the quality to invert and be on the ball and be tidy. And the amount of times we're getting turned over in front of our 18-yard box, Gary, we are the short passing. We're getting caught, too many touches on the ball. Teams are breaking on us. We're, this playing out for the back. Start that when we've got the quality of players to do it, Gary. We've not got the players right now to do it. We've not got them. So we're inviting pressure, we're inviting danger, we're inviting conceding goals. All because he's been stubborn and he wants to stick to this philosophy and keep going with it. It's not working at the moment because he's not got the tools to do it. He's not got the centre backs that are good on the ball. They're the first problem. He's got a right-sided centre back, Suter, on the left. So Suter's always got to. It was Katic the same problem. He played on the left. He's playing with his right foot up that, and 9 times out of 10 the ball's going to the park because the balance is off. And then he had Aaron's on that left side. Again, Aaron's kept having to come into the middle of the pitch, running into danger, getting caught in the ball, and we're getting broke on. We all see this. And I don't think you've seen Andy Halliday's wee sort of the wee ball he brought out and he tactically destroyed Russell Martin's tactics, mate. And this is a boy that's a Rangers fan and knows football. But he absolutely picked apart Russell Martin's problems. And if anybody's not seen it, go and watch it because it was bang on. And Andy Halliday sent a message out to every Premier League manager. There you go. Set up like that, and that's how you beat Rangers every Saturday. We're predictable, Gary. We're predictable to play against. It's easy peasy.
And Bridge, that's the point that I'm making as well, along with Port's saying there. It's the manager, the new, he's got a great philosophy of football. And what I says, I think every fan would love to watch their team play fast-flowing football. And he said that. He said that his teams that he builds run harder and faster than anybody else. But the other night there, Bridge, I didn't see any of that. I didn't see us controlling that game. We were 3-0 up. You know what I mean? All we had to do was hold on to the ball and create one chance and get the goal, and then that's us sitting in 4. Then that totally deflates that team. Then it can turn into a better night for us. But the other night there, I didn't see anything tactically that Russell Martin's promised the fans, and this is the thing. He's going to have to either, I says at the start of the show, swallow the ego and go with something that's going to suit him the now until he gets the personnel in.
That's a good point. The getting the ones that they want. I know he's got quite a few players basically either being signed or have signed, but they haven't actually managed to get in and play for us. I think there's 3 at the moment anyway. There are probably more, so forgive me. But I think there's 3 that haven't had a chance to start yet. Maybe there is 4 because you got Big Fernandez. I don't understand. We've had players in the door, a couple of them, and I don't understand why they're not playing. Maybe they're injured. I don't know. I don't think so. How can they be injured? That's what hard. That can I. But seriously, when you say there's most teams or most managers would say if you're 3-0 up in a European game, don't do anything mental. Just go out. If you can grab a goal. But don't take the ball or walk it out. Don't do that. Don't walk it out because you don't have anybody that can really play that game at that level. Because you're talking about Europe. How can they can do it? You saw the way they did it, but before you know it, it was a goalkeeper's feet, and then within 2 or 3 passes, they were away running past us in the midfield and causing major problems in the back. We didn't do that. I don't think so anyway. So, but I might be doing the guys a disservice, but I don't think we did anything like that. That team the other night there, if they had scored 5 or 6 goals, I don't think there's any Rangers supporter would have thought, my God, they didn't deserve that, because they did for their play. Obviously, Big Buckland, some fantastic stops and blocks and so on and so forth. All the good things for us that went on. But seriously, weren't great. And yes, hold the ball. Absolutely. Get the ball, hold it, pass it around, make them run a wee bit, and then they'll start to back off because they're going to run their legs and so on and so forth. But we don't. For some reason or other, we want to be totally magic all the time. It ain't going to happen. You can't get the ball and you can get 3 or 4 players around and hold the ball. But then get the ball on your own, the way you try to do it, you try to thread the ball through 4 people. You're not going to do it. Not at that level, you're not going to do it. You can see it coming. I'm sorry, I've said this before, and I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I'm trying to say, at the end of it, I would say that our manager needs to watch what he's doing, because the board, whomever it is that's running our company, I don't know if they call themselves board, but we'll call them board. The board won't be able to accept what's going on. They won't be able to do it because the pressure from the fans will be incredible. Absolutely incredible. But we're in that round. Next week we're back in Europe again at Ibrox. So I'm trying to think, what would dampen that? Well, first thing is the game against Alama. That would dampen it for sure. If we get beat, So we need to win. We need to start winning, scoring a couple of goals and win. Please, Rangers, listen to what we're saying. Go out and win. Don't go out to hold the ball forever. Go out and win.
100%, mate. And like he says, it could be like I'm talking about. I've been running mill. It could be that game that makes things just settle down and the tactics click. But I don't know. To go back to just on what Bridge was talking about there, the left-hand side of defence, like we've got the boy Fernandez in, right? Now, who's to blame for this left side of defence, mate? We've clearly known that John Souttar's going to have to slot in on the left side of defence. We've clearly known that we're selling Ridvan and Yefty is not for the fight. And then we decide to put in Aarons on the left. And then obviously when things start kicking off, we have to drop Tav and we put Aarons back to his right position. We put Yefty back in. Mate, there's no excuse for this. Like, they should have known that they needed somebody in to cover that left side of defence. And it's a sad indictment on our academy that there's not one boy in our academy that can go and grab that shirt on that left side of that left back position now. There's so many things wrong still with the club, but that should be one of the priority signings. If we're thinking about getting rid of both our left backs, then it is crazy to think that we could play a right back there just to tide his air throughout the transfer window. That should have been a priority. And then there again this week, we've been linked with the boy Mendy, and that's dragging itself on and on and on and on. That's a priority. We need to get him in the door so he can get some game time against Al, so we can start him next week again, hopefully. It's again what annoys me about Rangers, and I think it's been there for the last 4 seasons, is this laziness. We're no quick in getting things done. we should, let's just prioritise areas, and at least then we've got a settled team. But that left side of the defence has been a total thorn on our side this season so far.
You remember this history? I spoke to you one day, and my biggest fear this year was getting a few bad results and starting behind the 8 ball to start with. And I was hopeful that Martin, with a new investment and the new owners, was going to get backed. But like you're touching on, the recruitment drive dragged on and dragged on and dragged on, and deals weren't completed quickly. And we knew where the team was bleeding. We knew where the team was hurting. We knew where the team needed, stiffened up, i.e. Bridgeman. Spoke about it for months and months and years, but on the show, unless Eddie said it back, the Hollander type, that's what Bridgeman loves. A guy that throws his face, any part of his ball, body in front of the ball. He clears every ball. Katic, again, clears everything out. That's the sort of style of the defender that sometimes is needed. A cultured, hard defender. That's needed in Scotland. And you can have a guy on beside him that's good on the ball and likes to pass for the front. But, Gary, Bridge, I'm sorry, guys, we've went back from last year. In my opinion, this team is regressed. This team is worse than last year. Now, one of my biggest, which really pissed me off, pardon my French, so far this season, is the fact that Raskin hasn't been in midfield. He's the best midfielder in Scotland. They're persistent with Joe Rothwell. Now, I think Joe Rothwell is a tidy player on the pitch. I think he's very tidy, good passer. I like his forward runs. But I don't think he's a 6, because he doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't turn the ball over enough. He doesn't, win enough balls in midfield. He's not like Raskin, where Raskin loses the ball, he'll go and get it back. I mean, in the 15 minutes Raskin come on against Pilsen, he recovered the ball more times than Rothwell did the whole game. So I think there's an imbalance in the midfield. I think Raskin should be the one playing in the 6. That's where he wants to play, Gary. He said it time and time again. He went to the gaffer's door, and some people think that's a bit disrespectful, but fair play to him, because that shows me the wee man cares. Let me play where I can be most effective for this team, and then they could let Rothwell get one forward, but I think he could be more effective. He's not number 6 in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know what the callers and the listeners. We've got some great guys on Facebook and on YouTube who've got all great opinions. I'd love to hear what they think of the midfield, but I think if Raskin and Rothwell and possibly Lyle Cameron or Diamandi, whoever it may be, I know Diamandi's not a great start to the season. He's been very, very average, right? Again, turning over a lot of balls, inviting pressure, losing the ball, and in the final third, when we're about to attack, and then we're losing the ball, it's bouncing off Dessers, it's bouncing off Diamandi, the touch is shocking, and the team are breaking on us. And before you know it, we're caught. They're all caught goal side, and they're in. And only for Panathinaikos' poor finishing and Pilsen's poor finishing, and Jack Butland being an absolute hero in them 2 matches. Gary, we'd have been out of Europe long ago. You know what I mean? That's a hard truth. So Russell Martin as well. I think I'm not just going to hold the players accountable. I'm going to hold Russell Martin accountable, because I think he's got some of the decisions wrong, especially in the midfield area. Because, as I said, if he played, in my opinion, Rothwell and Raskin, I think that'd be far more constructive. Because Raskin could then screen, win the ball, and get to Rothwell today. The bit that he's good at, finding the pass, driving with the ball forward. He's got an eye for goal, Rothwell, as well. So I think Russell Martin has to take some blame, because I don't think he's got his selections right in a few games. But, mate, the fact of the matter is, we've regressed. We are not better than we were last season. And I know it's early.
No, I agree. And I'll come back to you on this, but I'm going to ask Bridgeman on this first. Bridge, do you think our recruitment team could have went out and got somebody in our league who was half decent for a left back just to do a job for us for easy money. I can't believe our recruitment couldn't go out and, like I says, grab a boy that knows our league and could just do a job for us now, while we spend our time searching the globe for the right left back that Russell Martin wants. Or even, like it says, even the centre of defence. Just bring in a stopgap. I mean, Christ, we've seen in the past what McLeish was able to do with our league, with signing players and stuff like that. I just don't understand why they couldn't just go in and find a stopgap there now, knowing what was facing them this season and how important it was to get after a decent start. I mean, I don't get it, mate. What do you think, Bridge?
Well, you know, if you're going to be shall we say, starting up or restarting up, and you're looking to do something, you got to have a defence. You've retained Butland, and sometimes Butland's not a bad goalkeeper. Truth be told, I thought he did an excellent job over the last couple of games particularly in Europe. But my goodness gracious, we don't need a goalkeeper. Well, I think you do. I think you need a cover goalkeeper for Butland. We need somebody around about the same height as him. You need to get a big goalkeeper in now. In my opinion, you need a tall goalkeeper. But I still think Butland's the best we could get, I think. But there are others around, nice, big, tall goalkeepers that are willing to play second fiddle and wait for a chance at Ibrox. And I think we could do that. However, you've got the rest of the defence to worry about. You know, you just mentioned a left back. We're struggling for a right back because Tav isn't 100% up to it yet. Not yet. I don't think he ever will be. He's dramatically slowed down now. Although some parts of his game are still there. He's still able to take penalties. He's still able to take free kicks. But I don't know what else is he able to do properly. Invariably, somewhere with an error. He's invariably there, round about it. So I don't
Bridge that sorry, but that's the point I'm getting at, mate. Like the right side of defence was covered. Like even if Tav wasn't up for it, we'd brought in Arns, so we knew that Arns was got to be the one that should have been starting in there, and Tav was the one that was backing up. So like there you go, right, bang, right side of defence for his system sorted. But then somebody in the clubs in their wisdoms decided to tell Ridvan, well, that's your career's finished, we'll see you later. So that's us down to one left back, which is Yefty, who clearly hasn't impressed the manager all pre-season. And again, nobody thought to think, oh, hold on a minute, we better start searching for a left back. Or can we not even look in an academy for a left back? I mean, what about the boy, was it Bobby Fraser? Was he no away to Livingston playing left back? Could he have not just done a job for us? Or could we not at least give the boy the chance? Because look at what happened with Curtis. Gave him a chance. And again, he's another one that's disappeared. The boy was on form. And the boy's not been getting even the minutes anymore. So this is what I'm talking about. I don't get why we weren't ready for the start of the season, Bridge.
But look, we brought a centre-half in, that boy Fernandes. And he's sitting languishing on the bench constantly. Either he's a good player or he's not a good player. If he can play football, he's a centre half, and we need centre halves. We saw the state of our centre halves in Europe; they're not very good, and they're getting caught out and so on and so forth. We're looking for somebody who's not get caught out. We're looking for somebody to go in and win the ball at their position, not anybody else's position. No lunging out in the right wing. In their position, win the ball, ground or head or in the air. That's their job. Our guys can't do that. I'm sorry. They can't take a goal. They can't win a kick for the goalkeeper. They really struggle doing that from the opposition goalkeeper into our half. They can't seem to do that right. And as I said, I don't know how many cross balls have come into our box in the last 3 or 4 weeks, but we haven't won any. There's not very many we've won. And then you end up with big last minute lunges.
This cutting Bridge, I think we've been joined by a caller. James, are you there, mate? How you getting on?
Yeah, fine. I was on the phone on your new system, and see Rangers Radio come up, and I'm talking to someone, this lady, and says that Rangers Radio, and she said, "You know who you're talking to?" And I said, "Who's that?" And it was somebody I was talking to. I thought that was Rangers Radio, so it was.
Oh, was it one of the 0800 numbers? Aye.
No, it's something.
He was that was his OnlyFans account, Gary.
No, I don't do that because you avoid the appearance of evil in your life. You've got to avoid the appearance of evil. Keep away from women, silly women that lead high diverse lust against men.
James.
Amen, James. Amen.
Yeah.
James, obviously the subject tonight, mate, it's a sad subject in the sense that we're talking about another manager struggling for the Glasgow Rangers, mate. I don't think any of us don't want him to succeed. I think it's all about him, like I say, just maybe swallowing the ego a bit and realising what's best for the team as it stands now, mate. And then hopefully in time he can implement this nice football that he's wanting to do.
Well, what I think in life is keep cool. I know he's got bad results. He might still get bad results, but that'll find him out. And it may be too late, but there's no use going crazy. Like I wrote a post about about how to beat low block teams. I said it maybe 5 years ago. Shooting practice. Get the players to be lining up outside the D, outside the box. They pass it to each other and they shoot. Get 50 to 60 shots a time instead of the defenders passing, and shoot all the time, and we'll get 3 goals. That's how you beat these teams. Do you think if Real Madrid would play them, they would hammer them? They would score about 15 goals. That's our problem. We play the wrong way. Get lots of shots. People could score goals. No, I watched the other lot, and their guys can actually shoot. They take a chance to shoot. We don't. We mess around. And it's still the same softness. We look as if they don't want to get injured. They're too soft, a team. Too soft players. They should know. If you were going for a job in America, you would do some research. Don't try to tell me the manager doesn't know they play the low block. That was a ridiculous statement. That's what they do because they call us a pub league because we play the low block. That's why, etc. But I said the formula is shoot all the time. You'll get ricochets, people running onto the ball, and you would hammer them. And a good manager would do that.
James, do you know? Sorry, guys.
We'll come back to you in 2 minutes. But James, on that, then, with what you're saying about the manager should know that, then do you think the manager can survive that if he continues on this path?
No, but you'll be found out. But we can moan as punters all day long, and I don't moan. I take it easy now. The terrible results, and if he continues like that, they're not going to win anything. They'll be found out. If he plays like that all the time, and these players don't try a lot harder and be more physical, because you're playing against physical players, and he'll be found out. It'll be too late, but the board might not do anything. So just keep calm and see what he does. He probably needs to change his style, etc. But they should try that formula, shooting all the time. Do you know what I mean? Shooting. You know what I mean? Instead of tippy-tapping across, why not? What you do is when you train people, you line them up in a row, and one takes a shot, the next guy takes a shot. Why do we not do that? It doesn't matter if they go over the bar. You get 90 minutes, 90 shots, you'll score at least 5 goals, and you'll make them look silly by doing that.
Yeah.
It's just
Port, come
simple.
on, mate.
No, I get where you're coming from, James, but I think one of the biggest problems, mate, is the speed we move the ball about. I don't think we take far too many touches in this side-to-side football. And as I said, the inverted fullbacks coming inside and, running into... They're basically running into alleys. They're running into areas where it's confined with, a 5-4 low block. They're not spreading the game out. We should be getting the pitch as wide as we can. That man should be on the touchline with chalk in his boots. So should Gas Man. We should be pushing forward, pushing them straight up, like John Suter and Giga and their back four. I've got pace. We should be pushing them into the main half, not just sitting with 5 attackers, because this is one of the things Andy Harley touched on. If they've got 5 and 4, right, in the low block, and we're only offering forward 5 players in an attacking sense, how does 5 beat 9, James? How does 5 players beat 9 unless they're moving the ball at some speed and they're committing players and taking players on? So why is the fullback staying back? Why is the centre back sitting so deep? Let's push them into the main half. Let's get 20, 30 yards further up the park and keep them in there so they can't get out. I mean, this is the thing that annoys me, but the biggest thing we have to do, James, apart from shooting, I do agree with you on that, we have to move the ball quicker. Well, it's 1, 2 touch, 3 touches sometimes, and you look, by the time that, their defence is reset and they've got their whole back 11 ready to, saying, right, come and break us down. And when we turn the ball over, which we do, we turn the ball over constantly and they break on us. And before you know it, we've got players too far up the park because we lose far too many balls. Many times have you seen Aarons or Yefty come into the park in an inverted role and being caught on the ball because they're not used to coming in there. They're getting past centre backs, are passing them in there, and the midfield are breaking on them. Bang! On the edge of an 18-yard box. So dangerous, James. So dangerous.
Yeah, well, I noticed the wingers were not. You've got to take on people. Everybody's got to beat people to win a game, not just pass the ball. And the wingers should be taking on that fullback all the time, running at them, getting fouls, getting penalties, get to the byline, cut it back. Even corners, put it back to somebody running in. Even the attackers with the defenders with the head, don't line up behind one another. Spread right out. Spread the full length of the goals. And that spreads, all the defenders will be spread. Spread yourself over the goal area, even past that. That's what I'm saying. There's too many, one centre back behind another, and they're pushing and jawing. Just some of the guys outside the box for a shot. Spread the players about.
No. Bridge, we're pushing up to the tune, mate, and James, I'll come back to you because I want to speak to you about obviously the recruitment side of things and get your opinion on that. But Bridge, for you, you've seen a lot of football, mate. It's a simple game. Sort your defence out, and the rest can take care of itself, mate. Eh?
Well, I've nearly always played in defence. I've found it most successful to play in defence. But I have to say, when I watch my team playing, I'm not saying every single minute of the game, but you watch them playing when they're under pressure, they just don't know where to go, what to do, and how to get there. They just don't seem to know it. And it's confidence, obviously it's confidence, and they're not getting it. That I don't know. James said, they should be doing half an hour or an hour shooting in, just to get used to shooting and training. Well, we've been screaming out for that. That's what we should be doing. Not so that particular, but should be, whatever their training and the coaching's happening, their moves they're doing. When are we going to see these moves being transferred into the park and working? I just don't get it. I really don't, and it's actually mind-boggling. Here we are. We're talking about a club that's got 50,000 people. When they're playing at home, there's 50,000 people can get into our ground. Sometimes we can't get 50,000 because there's only 200 people in the away end, and in European games you got to leave 5,000 out for whatever UEFA wants to do with them. But 50,000 in general, we're going to get something like 50,000 people. How many other teams in the world can do that? Guaranteed nearly 50,000 people in their home games, and we can't do anything. We can't do anything, guys. It's really worrying, in my opinion. We thought we'd been through this two managers ago. We thought we were getting into trouble, but we seem as if we're in even more trouble. So the managers, in my opinion, the managers threw the team under the bus 3 times now because of 3 bad performances, and I don't know what he's going to do the next time. But he can't walk away blaming the players. He can't. He's the man in charge. He's got to make it happen.
Well said. Right, boys, we've hit that time of night already. So get yourselves on mute because we're going to have a tune.
Now there's a pub in Green Street where all good proddies you will meet. So come down here and together we'll have a jar. A welcome there you will receive, so good that you won't want to leave. A fine wee pub is Saltcoats Mermaid Bar. You'll hear the sash, and Derry's walls, just like in your own wee orange halls. The banter here you will enjoy as long as you're a proddy boy. A good time in the Mermaid is had by one and all. We all support the Queen and Crown. The prices here are the best in town, and the bar staff, they are one terrific crew. Everyone laughing, full of cheer. It's one tremendous atmosphere, singing to support the red, white and blue. You'll hear the sash, and Derry's one, just like in your own wee orange halls. The banter here you will enjoy as long as you're a proddy boy. A good time in the Mermaid is had by one and all. It's nice to come to the Mermaid Bar when Rangers are playing at Ibrox Park. You'll forget your worries and all your cares, singing songs against the Thames before you watch the Rangers win. For everyone here supports the Teddy Bears. You'll hear the sash, and Derry's walls, just like in your own wee orange halls. The banter here you will enjoy as long as you're a proddy boy. A good time in the Mermaid is had by one and all. If you are up from Belfast town, Tyrone, Fermanagh or County Down, Armagh, Antrim or London, Derry shores, the Mermaid is the place for you, so come and have a drink or two. Next time in Saltcoats you'll want to come back for more. You'll hear the sash, and Derry's walls, just like in your own wee orange halls. The banter here you will enjoy as long as you're a proddy boy. A good time in the Mermaid is had by one and all. You'll hear the sash, and Derry's walls, just like in your own wee orange halls. The banter here you will enjoy as long as you're a proddy boy. A good time in the Mermaid is had by one and all. A good time in the Mermaid is had by one and all. A good time in the Mermaid is had by one and all.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Cheers for that, Foxy boy. Well back, lads.
Yeah.
Good stuff. James, I'm going to cover yourself first, and then I'll take it round Port and Bridgeman on this one. The recruitment side of things. how do you think our director of football's done so far with his recruitment?
Can I just deviate for that slightly and then give you the answer?
Aye, fire away.
Right. Like, I saw a player with Malmo, centre-back. I can't remember his name. He was a Bosnian centre-back with Malmo against Rangers. And he's the guy we should have signed. He went to Sheffield and then he went to another team for 15 million. And people should recognise good players. He was a good player. We should have signed him. He was a tough centre-back. I think the recruitment's early stages. I don't know that to draw 2 games, but they don't seem to have a plan. They don't seem to be aggressive enough. They don't seem to take on players. They don't seem to. I was talking about shooting in a game, training with. Even have a practice game that they line up for each other, and so forth. Have a team they play or the reserves or something where they're defending all the time. But it's early days, but they've got to take on people, and they don't know Raskin and the English boy. What's the best? The number 6. He doesn't really know which one to play, and he might be falling out with people. I don't know. It's early days, but if he carries on like that, he'll be out of the league. He'll never recover maybe 12 points or 15 from Celtic. They really need to get their act together and win games. But too many times the recruitment's bad. Like the Colombian boy is terrible. He doesn't show any fight.
Yep.
Yeah, Bajami, same, doesn't show it. A lot of these guys are getting money for nothing. They don't know what the passion is, how to play with passion. They just come here, take the money, and they don't really care, to be honest. Football's a game of money nowadays. They don't have that passion. It's early days, but I like the Finland guy and Gasman, but they need to work hard and take on players and not worry about getting fouled. But the other teams are still doing a lot of fouling and getting away with it. I still think the referees are difficult, but that's the way the league is. I think it's early days, but I would give the guy a chance. You know what I mean? He might pull it around. Somebody might say, "Look, you're going to get the sack here if you continue." He's not stupid, the guy. And maybe somebody might have spoken to him. It's early days. I can't say how it's going to go.
Paul, it's a bit of a loaded question I've done with the whole recruitment thing, and what I mean is a whole. Like, so players gone out the door as well as coming in the door. Now, players coming in so far, both Wolves, big Jigger, decent. Ant-Man, Gasman look promising. We've not been able to see the boy Asgard or Moore yet, but on paper look as though they're decent signings. But the concern is, mate, see if these old boys come into the team, right? What happens if, as we're seeing now, when they're not in the team, this is how poor the squad is. And it's down to the director of football to get people shipped out the door. Now, last summer, we done a fire sale. We let Todd Campbell go for practically, I think it was like 500 grand. I mean, when he was touted to be like a £7-8 million player. If it's getting to this stage, and Ox made a good point last night as well about the whole thing with Dessers. If that AK Athens had came in with, say for talking sakes, they were offering 3 million, it's within the club's interest is to take the money now. Take it, and then we can reinvest it. And this is what I don't get. Like, the director of football is in charge of all this. Patrick Stewart probably to a certain extent as well. But, mate, that side of things has been poor. Getting folk out the door and getting money into the club's been poor. Players in so far look all right, but it's as much as important getting these players out the door so we can back up the squad. You mean, because like I says, it's all right signing the nice shiny diamonds, but if they're not in the squad, mate, we're back to an average team.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, who's going to buy them? That's the thing. Who's going to buy some of these players? That was like last year. You got right, because we massacred them in the the press and so forth, and we should lay off a wee bit instead of saying some of the media. They should lay off the players a wee bit. There's human beings, but if they're not doing the job, we've got to move them on. But
there's ways as well where you put pressure on them, James, that you turn around and say, well, you're going to suffer in the B team. You need to turn up for your work because you're under contract, and they might want to sit and take the wage and all the rest of it. But then if you come to some sort of agreement, like with what you're saying there with Scott Wright, with Todd Cantwell and all the rest of it, there was all agreements in place there to basically let them go for free just to get them out the door so they're off the wage bill. And this is where we've got to be ruthless as a club, because if we're trying to move forward and we're trying to save a manager as well, by the way, then it's down to the lads, these director of fit, but they do their job to get their contacts, to try and come to some sort of agreement. And by the way, we've got wealthy owners now as well. And I'm not saying they can just rock up and just pay people's wages off, but if they're serious about Rangers being a proper title challenging team, then they've all got to help each other. Like it says, Port's touched on it tonight, saying that the Edinburgh teams could possibly split us. See if that happens, that tells me, like it says, that the owners have let us down, because they came in with promises. And so far, like it says, it's looking same old, which I'm pretty disappointed about, to be honest. Port Bear?
Aye, mate, I don't know if you're aware, you've got Hibs, I've got American owners with wealth, and they've bought wisely and they look a better team than they did last year. You've got Hearts, who have got the Brighton connection with Tony Bloom, who's mega rich, and we see the improvement with Brighton in the Premier League, and eventually the plan is they're going to start sending players north to assist Hearts, so that team's going to keep improving. So this is my worry, mate. Every team seems to have a plan right now, and every team seems to be improving, apart from our team. Our team, I had this great belief that when the Americans come in, the 49ers come in, that, and I know because financial fair play was restricted, I knew millions were going to get thrown about, but I thought they would have come in, clear the decks, like the guys like Davies, who are sitting on wages they don't deserve, absolutely stealing money out my club, and offering zero. And there's more than him, by the way, it's doing that. That should be accepted. And sometimes you've got to speculate, accumulate. Offer them a contract, offer them a package, and say, look, get yourselves into our club, because we need to reinvest the money in the wages to get players that want to be here. Because that's one of the biggest problems, in my opinion, mate. We've got players that don't want to be there. They don't care about the club. And when you're in amongst guys like that, because they'll be training with them, they might not be in the direct training group, but they'll be in the vicinity. And all the wee cliques will be there, Gary. And I've been in dressing rooms, again, not at the same level, but I've been in dressing rooms and cliques and that are forming. And you've got this one, you've got the core group that are playing every week, then you've got the wee group that's not, in and out the team, then you've got the group that are like so far out of the team they're not getting a chance. But they all talk, they're all mates, they're all still mates as a core group of a team. And that can be good, Gary, because if that's what's happening on the training pitch, that's what happens on a Saturday. Now, I'm one of these big believers. I don't believe that I know you say this about Kieran Dow, he trains great, he trains great during the week with his yellow bib on. I don't care if he trains great with his yellow bib on. I don't care. I want to see how he performs on a Saturday. If he trains well and plays well on a Saturday, that's what I want to see, and that's why he stays in the team. That is it. It's not about, but he played well and scored 2 goals, and, when we're playing the yellow bibs versus the non-bibs, and no. That's what it's all falling down, Gary. We need to be training as hard as we should be playing. That's the way I trained. I trained during the week, 3 times a week, and I trained as hard as I played on a Saturday, because I wanted to be selected. I've told you just before, wasn't the most technically gifted player in the team. I played the holding role midfield. I was a wee terrier. I was a wee pain in the neck. But I was first team on the pitch. I was first pick on the pitch because I gave it everything. I gave it absolutely everything. And that's the basic fundamentals of football. Get your basics right, get your passing right, show your desire, win your challenges, and fight for your team. That's the bare minimum. That's the minerals that we expect as a given. And the rest, Gary, when you play with good players, they're the players that take you to the next level. I've always said this on the show. You should always have your water carriers, your guys that are going to go out there and win every challenge, and blood, sweat, and snotters, and do everything they can. And their job is to simply get to the guys that are technically great. That's what that should happen. I'm not seeing that, mate. I'm not seeing our guys giving their all, and that hurts. That hurts big time.
Well said, mate. Sorry, I just cut across you, bud, because I think we joined me on our caller. I think it's another James. So, how are we doing, James?
Hi, pal. How are we?
Well, we're trying to spin a positive over this team, mate. We're trying to find a solution to see which went wrong again this season, mate. And so far, we've no fun at it, mate. So hopefully you can help us.
Oh, I mean, I used to. Obviously, the show started, and I cannot argue with anything you've said about the team, about the manager, about the style of play or lack of style of play. I hate saying this, but I see nothing. I see no change. As you say, we are worse this year than last year. And I mean, I'm not saying Matt should get sacked, but I mean, to me, nothing's going to change. I mean, you see that we Southampton every week in the Premiership, we get hammered, and he's still stuck with that same method and got them relegated. And as you would say, if Hibs and Hearts, or even just one of them, split us this season, it's. I mean, what's that say about the team? And I think everything's just slow and lacklustre, and there's no. I don't know. There's nothing there. To me, there's nothing there. I hate saying this, but it's boring watching us at the moment. I'm sorry, pal. Are they before the penalty kick got taken against Dundee? That's on Saturday, and I first time I've been in a while, and honestly, just felt so kind of frustrated, and just I watched this movie over and over again with Gio, Beale, come on. I mean, it just seems to be the same thing year after year. It's slow. I don't know, mate. It's it's actually kind of sickening. I mean, it's deflating.
It's disappointing, James. You're right, mate. And this is what we've kind of touched on in the show tonight. It's just that the way Russell Martin was my choice for manager, right? But when he came in and done his actual interviews and stuff like that, and how he said his style of play, he knew what he was coming up against. Mm-hmm. It was all about coming in and getting the wins and keep building. The teams, the biggest thing he's done as well, like most managers in the past, he's made promises about that he was going to make a team that was going to run harder than any other team. Now, you look at Motherwell and you look at Dundee, I didn't see us running harder than any of the two teams. And that's a hard thing. Now he's made a rod for his own back.
Exactly. I mean, if it's the same as Clermont last year, or will be better than November. None harmed. It's just words. I mean, it's empty words, and I mean, we can't wait. Any longer. I mean, I'm saying our, but no, see what happened last year in the Scottish Cup, the lower league team, Queen's Park. But our, then St Mirren, and then we got them, and I mean,
it's a dodgy game, mate. It's a dodgy game. I'll take that point to your brother in Tennessee, James. The Alba game it's a massive game, James. Huh?
Yeah, but I'm offering a solution. The solution I'm offering is shooting all the time, and also attacking, not as a group of defenders. Get right round the area. Send one of the defenders one side of the post, the other side of the post. Have somebody outside the box. When it comes out, volley the ball in. If they practice shooting all the time and they'll get goals. These low blocks, I'm offering a solution, and it's up to them. Do you know what I mean? And how many times have Rangers done a corner right onto a guy outside the box? Get even 3 or 4 people outside the box ready to hit that on the volley or shoot. And they've scored goals. You know what I mean? None of this punting the ball into the middle and they're all fighting and jostling and all that. Split them all up. Shoot. Get 60 shots. Get the centre backs to hit it to a midfield player. The midfield player hits it to someone else. He shoots. Never mind. Practice on them. And don't waste. Get to that D all the time. Right. A few balls to the D. 2 players pass it. Shoot. I mean, what's the problem? I mean, that's the solution. And they don't do that. And they'll never. They don't do that. That's a great solution. We played last night a team 6v6 and they were trying to foul us and we just passed the ball round about. I had an assist last night. My son I got the ball, hit it to him, he scored. Dead simple. One touch.
James, you do know the transfer window's still open for Glasgow Rangers, mate, so we might be chapping the door, mate, we're looking for people who can give assists.
I'll sign for £5.
I'll take this. I'll take this across the bridge, man, because Bridge, as we said before, mate, it's a simple game. That goal that Dundee scored at the weekend, you'd be quite happy if the Glasgow Rangers done that kind of goal,
You got to laugh, man. You just got to laugh. How the hell can they score a goal like that? As a cross comes into the box, we've got 5 big fellas that are 6 feet and upwards, and not one of them headed the ball. Not one of them headed the ball. It's incredible. And the ball comes back over, and our goalkeeper's 6'5". And I'm not saying he was out of position, but he couldn't reach the ball. So I would suggest, he was out of position. Because where he was and where the ball came in, the ball went straight over the top of him and into the net. These are things that's got to be looked at. Obviously, there's different ways of looking at it. I just see somebody saying, I'm going to take a free kick. I've got 4 players over there, far out, so I'll put it over there and one of them might get it. Wow. And we've got 10 players in there. Would one of them get it? No, none of them got it. Sorry, that is just unforgivable. We do it. We appear to do that every week. Long throw-ins, free kicks, corner kicks, you name it. And we can't get somebody to head that ball out. Why, I don't know. I've played centre-half most of my life. And the only main thing I ever wanted to do was clear that ball. And we can't do that. But we look up the part of the opposition, and every time we get the ball and we try to get in there and score a goal, they nearly always clear it. They clear our chips, our corners, our throw-ins. They clear it. I'm speaking about throw-ins, by the way. Rangers are the worst team that I've seen, and this Rangers team is even more worse than any others. They cannot take a throw-in. They've got no idea what they're doing. They can't find anybody in their own team, and you see them passing the ball, virtually taking the throw-in, and nobody gets it, and they go straight to the opposition. That's just unforgivable. I'm not going to moan anymore. Sorry. I'm really get upset about it.
Yeah, you're fine, mate. You're fine. Port, lads, just when you're not talking, if you can go and mute, it's just the background noise also goes through the show and stuff like that. So if you're on a mobile, just go on the mute button. It just helps, like I say, the show and the background noise and that. Port, mate, we have been. That's us an hour and a half into the show. We have been pretty two-footed tonight on the team, manager and owners. My side of things, owners and the director of football. So if we draw a clean slate tonight, right, and we're looking at Alloa coming up on Saturday, Russell Martin's turned around and says that the gap between them being really good and really bad is too much now. So he's made that statement saying that he's having to close that gap on that. Does it start on Saturday, mate? We've got to see it. We've got to see this gap at least. That says show that we've got a higher class in Alloa come Saturday.
GB, if he doesn't, mate, his jacket's on a shaky peg. If he can get there, you know, and even if he made changes, you know, to give some guys, the first team guys or the so-called first 11 a rest, we should still have enough to beat Alloa. And like I said earlier, I know they beat Dundee, mate. But like I said on the show the other night, and I was talking to you about it during the week. When we go away Europe, we're the underdog, right? We're the underdog in Europe. Nobody expects us to. Everybody always says, "Oh, Rangers punch above their weight. Rangers get great results in Europe." That's what it's like for Alloa, Dundee, Motherwell when they come to Ibrox. It's a cup final. So they work all week because they get a full week because we're playing during the week. They get a full week to work on a system to stop Rangers. And by God, mate, so far, the teams that we've seen playing Rangers this season have been up for the fight, haven't they? They've been up for the fight. They've outran us, they've outfought us, they've outthought us. Their manager is outthought our manager. And that's the cold, hard facts, Gary. That's the cold, hard facts of Rangers season so far. We've been absolutely outfought, outran. You know, the team has had more desire to win. We were lucky to get us up against Motherwell. We were lucky to get us out. Dundee at the post twice. And Jack Butler made some great saves. We were lucky, mate, to get a point for them games. Absolutely. Let's be honest, we were lucky to get that.
Yep, I mate. And the thing is, mate, though, you'll know with playing football is that one good result can hopefully change a team. The confidence in anybody's line of work. If you've got confidence in what you're doing, then that's what makes you the best that you can be in your role. So I think from Saturday, mate, Russell Martin's got to get the confidence up again in that team.
Aye, that's what needs to happen. That could be. I'm not saying that particular game's going to be the springboard because people will just say it's Ali, you're expected to beat them, but it could certainly raise the confidence if they went out there and won 4-5-0, guys. And we've seen a massive improvement. We've seen them out running and out fighting and out thinking. Alloa. But it'll be the next match for me because it's consistency I want to see. The St Mun match because they gave us a few Durbans last season. That was your bogey team last season, and that wee man, Stevie Robertson, sets that team up very well, mate. And he's added well this season as well. Watched the first game. He's added well. Big physical players up front. You know, you get pace in either wing. And again, he knows how to set a team up, mate. That young manager. In Scotland right now. There's some decent managers doing decent jobs in these so-called lesser, smaller clubs with small budgets. So it'd be that match for me, the St Mun match. It's how we go on after the Alloa and go on to the St Mun match, which would then leave us for the big one. Because ideally, you want to win the next two before you face them, so that, as you're saying, the confidence level at least is risen and there's a wee bit of consistency being added. Because consistency is key in football, Gary. It's the hardest thing to get correct. But when you get the consistency right, as in consistency in selection of players, consistency in performance, things start to change. Confidence builds. You know, where you might take them one or two touches, that stopped because you're firing the ball, you're receiving the ball, you're looking over each shoulder, and bang, the ball's in the corner. It's one touch up, it starts becoming. That's the level we need to get to, mate. Fast football, one touch, and get the confidence up there, and you'll see a completely different team. I believe I seen the early stages of Russell Martin's Southampton career, mate. Right when he thought he was going to get sacked early on, and then he went on a run that you wouldn't believe to get Southampton promoted. And if he didn't have that blip at the start of the season, they would have got promoted. You know, first hand, they would have just the automatic promotion. But because he had that wee spell where he was trying to get that philosophy into that team, because he'd lost a few games, he didn't get automatic promotion, but he got promotion and end up. And that's what I'm hoping is going to happen, guys. He said that's the plan. It's going to be a slow process. It might take a few transfer windows, you know what I mean? But at Rangers sometimes you know at time, mate, because it's such a performance driven. You know, you're in the fishbowl up here. The pressure's on you. I hope it gets you time, mate. I like the guy. I think he speaks well. I do think he speaks too much sometimes. I think he lets a wee bit too much out to the press. You know, I think he should, pull back on the wee sound bites because I think he's giving them rope to hang them. See, like this carry on saying we're going out run them, we're going out fight them. They love that. They love that because the first time it doesn't happen, they go, "Oh, Russell, I see you played Dundee the weekend there. You didn't out fight them, didn't out run them." So it makes him look like a fool, doesn't it? So these are the he needs to rein that in a wee bit as well, but a wee bit more private, a wee bit just say a wee bit less because he's putting pressure on the team as well. Saying these things because when they don't go out and do that, then again he looks like a fool, but so do they. So he's got to rein it in a wee bit, mate. He's got to rein it in a wee bit.
Well said, mate. Well said. Got to go to the two Jameses. I'll go to Scottish James first, mate. What's we're talking about confidence there. What's got to give you the confidence back in the manager, mate, in these upcoming games?
It's winning games. That's. I mean, as you boys were saying, it's consistency. That's the key. I mean, and with consistency comes confidence, and win games. I mean, these next couple of games, Alloa and St Mirren, and then the Champions League qualifier, then them. I mean, if we can win all them, and get into the Champions League kind of group stage, and then have beat them once this season, the first game, and what a difference a month could make if we just get a couple of good victories, and it's just getting one win after another, and just kind of, because at the moment, mate, it seems to be like kind of one step forward and two back. It's just.
Aye, so true. You're right, mate. You're right.
And it's wins. It's just wins I'm looking for, and I don't care if we win 1-0 or 10-9 as long as we get the victory. You know what I mean?
Bridgeman's all rounder. I'll take it. I'll take that to James for Tennessee. James, mate, was you? In fact, you've actually been pretty relaxed about the manager tonight. So, like, are you just looking for improvement each game, mate? Basically.
Well, yeah. Like Bridgman made a good point. Why do we not use the long throw-in against them when we're sometimes? We should be using that. We should get somebody using the long throw. I think we've got to give the manager a chance to be on the boards as well. It was bad results, but we've got to give them a chance. He's not stupid. If you were a manager of the team, you say, "Oh, we've only got 2 points or 4 points behind our biggest rivals who have got a massive game in Kazakhstan, and it's a 9-hour flight, and they'll be flying right back. They'll not be doing much train into us, and they're worried about the game against us because if Maeda leaves, they're in real trouble. They've not got any good players coming in. They're worried about that. So we could turn the tables on them just by winning games, get Moore on, get the other lad, what's his name, on, get a good result, no matter who he plays, strong team, 5-0 up, and then we take it from there. But he needs to change his style. He needs to change his style as well by not playing from the back sometimes. Sometimes lump it up, get it forward. He needs to vary that against St Mirren and these teams. Play them at their own game. You know what I mean?
Yep. Aye, no, you're 100%.
Yeah.
No,
just winning games and confidence will breed.
I have it, and you're saying, mate, you're right. Maybe we as a fan group just need to let this unfold, because again, we can moan and shout and everything, Bridgeman, but maybe it's just a wee bit of patience and Matt says it will take care of itself, basically.
I have to say, I don't think the fans. I don't think Rangers should be. Rangers fans should be letting this go. I just don't. The manager has got to. The ones I listen to, the interviews I listen to, he never says this, that, or the next thing. He says, "Well, we weren't very good," or words to that effect. And I'm saying, wait a minute, that's your players you're speaking about. Well, what are we going to say? He doesn't say anything other than, well, I wasn't good. I wasn't too happy with this. No, that's just not right. We've invested millions of pounds into this team. Millions and millions of pounds into the club has been invested has been spent by the club to get the players in. But the players are coming in. Some of them are not getting a game. And the reason for that is between the manager, the trainers, and whomever. But I tell you what, the ones that are on the park and you can see them when you watch them. Do you know there's people? I was speaking to a guy the other day there, and there's people go to see Rangers. They're walking out. Three guys together, walked out after 25 minutes last week. The Rangers were that poor when they were playing. The game they watched was just rubbish. Rangers were absolute rubbish, and they walked out 25 minutes gone and went away. Never even get into the pub to watch it, didn't bother. Just utter rubbish. So I think that may have been the Dundee game. I don't know what one it was, but really poor, really poor. So if we don't win games, and this is going to be absolute mountains to climb, you're creating a mountain as you go along. If we can't get the games won, then there's something wrong right at the very heart of Rangers Football Club. Right at the very heart. And the only person right at the very heart that the fans are on about is the manager. The players he's bringing in, maybe they're not getting coached right, and maybe they just don't like the way they're playing. I've got no idea. But they have to get it sorted out. Because, as I said a wee bit earlier, you're watching something like 48,000 fans going into Ibrox, paying their way. Have already paid their season tickets, and other guys are coming in. 48,000 guaranteed to go into Ibrox, and they're getting served up rubbish like that. That you start to hear the boos, and we're starting to hear them already. You hear that. I think the only thing that's going positive for Rangers is the getting through in the European games, and that's brilliant for the club, and some well-deserved money as well, because we need it. But we need to start winning in the league. I think it was GB that said before, if we don't win any league games, and then we come up against them at Celtic Park, and we could be 12, or was it 12 points? I'm sure he said 12 points behind them. My God Almighty! It's not even September yet. We're 12 points behind. Ow! That's why I look at it, guys. I'm sorry. I do. I really got upset with the way it's going on. But the fans are not hearing anything other than the same stuff he's been telling us for the last 6 or 7 weeks. The same stuff, right? Well, that player's not ready yet, or this player's not ready yet. And I'm thinking, oh well, where are they? We've got a centre half we bought, and he never had a game. And I asked on one of the forums, or our forum, and they said, one of the guys said, he'll probably come in against Alloa. Well, good luck to him. I hope he does get in, because if the centre half sitting there, and we've got centre half that can't head the ball. Bad news. Sorry, boys.
No, you're fine, Bridge. You're fine, mate. And like you says, you've touched on the recruitment again in Port. It's sad that, unfortunately, if Dessers is injured, mate, that's going to force our hand to go into the market for a striker. When, to be honest, mate, that was one of the positions that started that transfer window we should have been looking at.
Aye, in my opinion, mate, you know, this has written the stars. We should have accepted the first offer that EAK Athens offered, and let him go and just reinvested the money, mate, because it was inevitable that guy was going to get injured somehow, some way. It was written in the stars, mate. Something's going to happen to him, and what happens? He gets an ACL injury. That's what they're saying it is. So we've lost our top goal scorer over the last 2 seasons, swell in the campaign. Danilo's not exactly setting the hair in fire with scoring goals, so we've not got a goal scorer. So I think we're in big trouble in the forward line, and I think Rangers really need to go out there and get somebody. The boy Tugman for Tel Aviv. If that deal's still there, go and get him. Go and get him, because that was the target that was spoke about when the Fort Rangers took over. The guy seemingly wanted to come. But we're talking about the midfield, we're talking about the defence. Now we've lost our top goal scorer, guys. That's a massive problem, mate. And he scored some important goals over them last 2 seasons. So he did. And I know he gets a lot, I know he's an enigma, and I know he gets a lot of criticism, but his goal ratio speaks for itself. And it's something that I thought about the other night when I seen him get injured. I thought, right, he could be effectively out for the season. So that's another year's contract done, since his last year's contract, guys. And his value drops again. And yet again, Rangers, and this goes to Kevin Fairwell on that, by the way. Rangers have dropped the ball again. We're losing money on a player that we could have sold and reinvested the money into the team. And again, it's another wee moan, mate. It's another wee moan for me. But these are all the wee things that all add up from top Kevin Fairwell's level, Stuart's level, down onto the management and onto the playing staff. Mate, we are still making silly mistakes when it comes to, one of the 4 pillars, buying and selling players.
Agree, mate. Agree, and this is the thing. Like that should have been the priority this season, was to get rid of players that as quick as possible. Basically, mate. Any offers that came in, as long as they weren't the stupid offers like 100k and all that carry on, then what it says, anything at $1 million above, we should have been taking it and getting out. Now, our top players like say Igaman and all the rest of it, then we sit on that because we've got them tied down. But like say Dessers and stuff like that, and boys like Davies and Cifuentes and all the other ones that been Doyle and all that been kicking about in the background, all of them should have just been let go as soon as there was even a sniffy decent money getting offered for them. And even if there wasn't a port, again, we should have been making it clear to them that if they don't go, they're got to be sitting in the doldrums of a so-called B team, maybe even get loaned out to this partnership that we're linked into and all that kind of, because at the end of the day, they're Rangers players, so they're under their contract. They start playing funny buggers and they breach contract. There's ways and means that says we should be putting pressure on these guys to get out the door, but it's okay, mate.
There's the biggest problem, mate. Sorry, there's the biggest problem. And Russell Martin touched on this, and again, it was a sort of scathing attack, I think, on the current squad. He basically said only player that we get any offers for this season so far was Dessers, like concrete offer. I know there's been talk about the Igaman money and all that carry on, but that's never been confirmed. That was like Real supposed to put an offer in. It was all talk on social media. But Russell Martin said in one of his interviews, mate, the only player in this whole squad that's been here that we get any concrete offer for was Cyril Dessers. And that error alone, mate, is a sad indictment on our playing squad. That nobody, and some of these guys went to European Cup finals and still, Gary, nobody wanted to touch these players. Ask yourself why. Even the listeners, the guys that's in Facebook, even in the Facebook page, guy, and all the YouTube people, why is nobody come in for these people who went to European Cup finals, and because they've looked at them and there's something at Ibrox, an attitude problem, a desire problem. Nobody wants the players. We can't even give them away. And that's what will end up having to happen. We'll have to pay these guys the contracts off, Gary, to get rid of them. That's the only way we'll get rid of these guys. We'll have to pay them off to clear the decks.
100%, mate. 100%. Yep, aye, James, come in, mate.
Well, I think the new owners should stand their ground. I think that's the problem with the club. It's just, the team across the city has sold £20 million players and more. They're getting much more money than us. They've got bigger ground. We've got to stand our ground, even if we run down our contracts and not take offers that are silly anymore. I don't care. We sometimes don't know what's happening with the club. They don't tell us. Any football club doesn't tell the supporters what's going on. There's lots of things going on we'll never know about. But I think we should stand our ground and say, well, Ben Davis is going for $1.5 million instead of 200,000. If we don't get it, we'll just need to keep him. Simple as that. Because we've got to make money selling these players, not just giving them away. We've done it last year, this year. We've got to change our attitude. Make sure we get money for players. And that goes to Italian teams as well. If Lennon Miller went for $4.5 million and he turns out to be a good player, that'll be the same as Ferguson. We've let a good player go. Why not buy him? You know what I mean? Go to Aberdeen. We should have went to Aberdeen and announced we're bid $3 million for Lewis Ferguson. And he would have known that. He would have said, look, I want to go to Rangers. You know what I mean?
Well said, James. Well said, James.
What?
I've said this, James. Letting these players leave Scotland, Lennon Miller, even the boy Doig for Hibs, the left back, I thought was a decent Scottish player, turning up in Italy. We had Billy Gilmer there, you got Scott McTominay. You know, the whole Scotland midfield and Lennon Miller, the future of Scotland midfield, are all playing and applying their trade in one of the best leagues in the world. So if they can see the quality in Scotland, if we still get this snobbery that we don't buy for we don't buy for Aberdeen, you know, it's absolute snobbery. It's ridiculous that we allow these players to leave Scotland and we don't even give them a sniff.
Yeah, exactly. Port Bear, you're spot on there. Spot on with lots of things. We've got to buy Scottish players because they're the guys that'll fight. Derek Ferguson's always talking about his son, loved the Rangers. Even in Italy, he's got Rangers top running around. You know what I mean? We should stop all this carry on, by the way. That's the type of players we need, not the ones that don't fight for us. We need guys like him. And if Lennon Miller would, I don't know what you like, but we've got to buy players that are good. And there should be people in the Scottish game say, oh yeah, he's worth it, but go for him. He's a good player. He likes the Rangers or he likes Celtic. I don't know. But we should start buying Scottish good players instead of some of the foreigners.
Talking about Scottish James, the boys might actually get their wish because I've seen we've been linked with the Dundee striker. I can't remember his name off the top, but I noticed that it was on one of the forums before I came on that with Esser's injury that we might be going in for the boy that was scoring goals against us last season up front for Dundee. That would be an interesting signing, but do you know something? I think one of these guys that would come in for our league could actually rip it up sometimes in our league. Like, say, what the boys are touching on there with Lewis Ferguson and all the rest of it. Like, I think if we took a punt on some of these guys, that they'll get us through the league games. We don't need them for Europe. We'll play our star players for that. But during the league, see when you're playing that low block, you're just needing a dodgy header or a guy to fling his body at a goal. And these hammer throwers sometimes that turn up trumps, as we've seen in the past, mate.
Well, exactly that. I mean, surely, somebody that's playing in Scotland will know the league, and they might. And as James was saying before that, see these people that us take a shot for outside the box. I've always said that. I've always kind of been an advocate of that. It's kind of like having a shot on sight. The goalkeeper could. It could be a deflection, the goalkeeper could make a mistake. So Richie's been saying about actually hitting the ball outside the box is actually, it makes a lot, to me, I would always do that, I would always have a pop, because you never know, but
James,
I don't know why we don't sign the Scottish players as well. For the European kind of rules in Europe, if no for that, for anything else, these guys know how. They've been playing Scotland all their lives. There you go, Lennon Miller, £4 million. Surely Rangers could have. We could have pushed the boat out and bought him from Motherwell, and I mean, Ferguson as well. Let Ferguson go, and I mean, one of our own, you boys playing Vitorino, Gilmore. I mean, as well. I mean, I don't. I mean, it just seems to be kind of like you say a snobbery kind of thing. That we can't buy him. He's played for Motherwell. He plays for St Mirren. He plays for even Aberdeen or whatever. St Johnstone. We can't buy him. I mean, and as you see, the past couple of years, it's been the FIP has been poor, and these kind of foreigners. I mean, to actually get what actually paying for Rangers means. I mean, it's a privilege paying for Rangers. I mean, listen, I'm a janitor in a school. I mean, I would get up in a minute to play one horse for Rangers. Yeah, I mean, let somebody let Jessers go and but they try and can train 350 wins every day. I mean, it's a hard job, but I mean, I'll put one hope for Rangers up front myself. But
Dessers will be looking for something today, so he might come and ask. He might be tapping the door.
I wanted to make a push him and he was doing kind of hold his face, aye. But no, I mean, we should buy the Scottish players. Like I say, it's only if it's the European kind of like quota that we have to have 3 Scottish players as well. I mean, if there's a good Scottish player, go out and buy them. I mean, like Miller, like Ferguson, we let go. You know what I mean, and all the rest of it. So, I mean, we should keep the best players in Scotland. I mean, because our league isn't the greatest, and I mean, keep the players here at a club like Rangers. You know what I mean, there's only, benefit us and benefit the whole Scottish football. You know what I mean, have the best players here, mate.
Port, just before we start to kind of wrap up, we've got about 10 minutes to go here. The Scottish contingent, when you look through the kind of title winning seasons and stuff like that we've had, and even this season so far, it's been young. It's been young, Lyle Cameron. It's been the kind of standout for it for the team. So this boy, Simon Murray, it's like I don't know, mate. Would that float your boat in the transfer window with 15 days to go tomorrow?
Simon Murray's 33, mate. Simon Murray's 33. Could he be a stopgap? Of course he could. He scored goals over the last 2 seasons, but I don't think the Rangers fans, mate, would accept it. That's not what we. That's not the level we're at the moment, mate. We're looking for much better than that. I spoke with the Israeli boy. That's the boy they should be going for, mate. I'm not, going down on the boy for Dundee. I did say it. I'm not going to contradict myself by saying we should be looking at Scottish players because could he do a job? 100%. He could be a squad player, come off that bench and give his all for the last 20-25 minutes in games. He does score goals. And I'm not going to, turn a snob by saying don't go and get him. Walter Smith built, I don't need to tell you guys this, Walter Smith built a massive success in title winning teams on having a good Scottish contingent and adding European flair. The blueprint was there. Walter Smith has led the blueprint on how to win our leagues. You need the Scottish contingent to be there. And then, as I said, you add the European class and, the rest takes care of itself, mate. So, as I said, Walter Smith's the man. He left a blueprint for everybody to see. That's how it works. Stop being so ignorant to Scottish football because there is wee gems in there. Lyle Cameron, he probably never thought he was going to get as many games at the start, guys, and he gets his first goal, and it's in a European tournament. And fair play to young man, because the first 2 games I've seen him, he's given his absolute all. He's ran his heart out, typical Scottish attitude. He's run himself into the deck, and he's given absolutely everything, mate, box to box. So, and that's what we miss. We miss that sort of typical Scottish terrier-like player that just gets stuck in. Doesn't even be the best technically gifted player, but he gets stuck in and he runs and runs and runs and gives it all for his teammates. And that's the sort of guys you want to play with. So, no, I do think Simon Murray could do a job, mate, 100%.
James for Tennessee, mate, you were coming in on that one, I think.
Yeah, I would go for Simon and the Israeli together, because Simon's a good trier, and sometimes even 500,000 they'll take that, 500 or 400,000, and he's a good squad player. Bring him on; he'll show the other guys how to fight. You know what I mean? And he'll maybe say to them, "Look, get a move on, fight instead of being a wuss." And yeah, I would go for him. You try anything, because the other team from the city is there for the taking, no matter how many points have dropped.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, mate. And Bridgman, we seem to be always laying the titles on a plate for them. We never seem to start strong to kind of put some pressure across the city, because for what you hear and see, that they're not overly enamoured with the transfer activity they've been having recently. So again, all it takes is for us to, let's just put a bit of pressure on and let's see what happens. I mean, because they've not had it. They've not had proper pressure. And by the way, see the season that we did give them proper pressure, they collapsed and we got our 55th title. And that's what we need to get back.
Yeah, like what he's been saying is quite interesting. I think we obviously need to be able to fight in the team. You mentioned that boy Miller that you thought Rangers should have went and got. Well, that boy's a real big Celtic fan apparently, but based on what I've heard and read, and Celtic never went in for him. So they might not be quite as great a football player as we know. However, I wish the boy good luck. I wouldn't want him at Ibrox for me anyway. So it's just me. So forgive me, guys, please. I'm quite happy we should go, and I would go down to the English League and bring people in. But get somebody, the people we need to know are the people who look about the English leagues and know all the players. They're the people we should be speaking to pick up these bargains, shall we say. We end up with, well, egg in our face sometimes with some of the guys we're looking at. So as far as I'm concerned, they've got a lot of players. This group have brought a lot of players in. Whether they're ever going to suit us, I don't know. But the manager and the shall we say the director of football, they've got a job in their hands, clearing out whatever's in there and getting them sold off, or indeed paying them off, as GB said. But somewhere along the line, a lot of players have got to go, and then you'll know what you've actually got. But we can't go on. We can't be weak. We've got to go on and do, and need to be strong. And that's up to the manager now. He's got to get it right. But I'm sitting here now. I'm thinking, are we going to win a game for the next 6 weeks? I don't know.
Wait and see, mate. We wait and see. Right, boys, we've kind of reached that time of the night. So, Scottish James, final thoughts, mate, just quickly, please.
Listen, mate, thanks very much for taking my call. And these next 4 or 5 matches are so crucial. So come on, just come on, just get that together and just get a few wins, and hopefully the confidence builds, and hopefully we'll start playing a bit better, and I'll get a happier time that team lost beat, mate. But no, listen, mate, thanks for taking my call, and good night to you all, mate.
Brilliant, mate, and thanks for phoning in. Brilliant call, mate. Great points you made tonight, mate. So, James for Tennessee, mate, your final thoughts as well.
Right, I got to respect Brisbane's views, but Lennon Miller, I would interview him and ask him this question: are you going to be like Michael O'Halloran, who was a die-hard Celtic supporter, never tried a leg, or will you be like McGregor, who's a Rangers supporter and tries very hard with Celtic, or Jock Stein? If he says, yeah, I'll try for the Rangers, I'll sign him. Okay, that's what you do, interview them. Find out, are they going to try? Are they not? They don't want to see Rangers win. If they say no, well, go to Italy. But good. Looks like he's going to. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, interview the guys, speak to them, and say, are you going to try for us? Mm-hmm. But anyway, thanks very much for being on. I know how to work teams now.
Brilliant. Well, that's it. Don't be a stranger to keys a phone anytime you want, mate, all right?
In more ways than one, James, in more ways than one.
Okay, thanks, Bridgeman. Port Bear.
Cheers, James.
GB.
Port Bear, over to you, mate. Final thoughts?
Aye, look, listen, I have to call it how it is, Gary. I have to be honest, and it's not great coming on here and tearing into my team, but I've got to call it how I see it, and I think that's the only way I can be on this show. You know, I'll give praise when it's deserved, but I'll also constructively criticise, you know, players and the manager when I have to do it. But I'll apologise for my moaning tonight, but I've just got to call it how it is, mate. Great show, and thanks for having us on. And thanks to all the callers who called in tonight, and all the Facebook crew, and the YouTube mob.
Right, mate. And the Bridgeman, just to finish us off there, mate.
What can I say, GB? Absolutely brilliant night. Thanks to Port Bear carrying me through on this, and of course the other guys that phoned in. Can I just say well done to the technical boys? It's been really, really good. Very clear tonight. Magic. Well done. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans listening in all over the world, we've been toughing the team out here, we've been murdering them and all the rest of it, but we're still Rangers fans, right to our heart. And let's go for it. We got next game. My goodness gracious. Huge game coming up. Everybody looking forward to it. Please, everybody, keep it going for the Rangers, because they're our club. They're our club. Keep it going.
Brilliant, Bridge. Can I say a big thanks to the callers tonight? This is what makes the show. Boys coming in, making their points. So a big thanks to Scottish James, and a big thanks to James for Tennessee. Big thanks to everybody listening in the show across all the socials, especially the boys in, like I say, the YouTubes and Facebook. Big thanks to yourself, Port Bear, for being on the night, mate. Brilliant points again, and yourself, Bridgeman. And a big thanks to the guys that make the show work, the techie boys in the background, Old School Blue and Foxy Boy. All right. This has been Rangers Radio. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow night talking about all things Glasgow Rangers. Good night.